Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry, we're having a little bit of technical issues with some of our panelists, and we are trying to solve the issue now. I see that we have Dr. Mazlan with us, as well as Mr. Chris Fong from P54. Welcome, gentlemen. So I think I'll give a little bit of background on the panels that we have today. We have as our moderator for this session, Dr. Mazlan Abbas, our CEO and co-founder of Favorite Sendirian Berhad, and well-known IoT evangelist. Yeah. And we also have today with us Mr. Chris Fong, co-founder and chief innovation strategy officer of P54 Private Limited. We're waiting for another three participants or panelists. Encik Muhammad Ezri bin Shamsuddin, director of Mafi's Young Agropreneur Unit. We are also waiting on Puan Nur Shahira Shahruddin, CEO of Fresh Harvest Peppers Sendirian Berhad, as well as Encik Muhammad Firdaus bin Muhammad Ghazali, Agropreneur Muda Selangor, Figro Cover Sendirian Berhad. Doctor, I apologize for this temporary issue here. You know, it's Murphy's Law lah. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong lah. Yeah. Chris, how are you? How are things in Singapore?
Hi, good. Hey, thanks for having me. Things are fine. We're just beginning to open up, so we can basically walk on the streets without masks.
Okay.
For the time being, yeah.
Doctor, how are you, doctor?
Yeah, I'm good. I think, as you know, this is the challenge of having an online meeting, right?
Yes. I do apologize to all our panelists, our moderator, our attendees for this, but we should have them on shortly. You know, it's always a mad scramble when we're trying to do something like this. So, Chris, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's happening in Singapore, because I know that you used to go up and down KL quite a lot, right?
I still am. I've actually started already now that things are, getting a little easier to travel. The rules of traveling is still changing every other day, so it's really a pain and very tiring to keep track of all the newest changes. But the good thing now is that things are actually getting easier instead of, at the beginning of this whole pandemic, things were actually getting harder to do. So yeah, I mean, now that things are opening up, me and Kelvin, my other co-founder, are also really ramping up our travels back to Malaysia. I just came back really a week ago.
Okay, all right. Doctor, any travel on your part?
No, I think the last travel that I have is actually to Saudi. Yeah, but I think that the troublesome of having that kind of travel restriction and all that, I hope the 1st of April will be much better.
We're all hoping for that. Like tomorrow, we'll see a rush of vehicles from Singapore coming to Malaysia and Malaysia heading down to Singapore. So I don't know if you guys have been following the previous presentations and the previous sessions. Do you have any thoughts on what was discussed in the previous sessions? Were you there in the previous sessions, Doctor and Chris?
Unfortunately, I wasn't. We're actually hosting a farm visit for Tengku Fahad at our Ipoh farm. So I just literally step out from the meetings that we had. We brought him for a farm tour and also demonstrated our technology to him, etc. So apologies for not attending the earlier sessions.
No worries. Thank you so much for attending our session. Doctor, I saw you were in the session itself. Any thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think it's good that to hear and listen about from Agrobank and also from MDEC, in terms of their vision. I think it's about time for us to move towards this digital agriculture. the financing part is quite interesting that he mentioned that when he wants to launch tomorrow, right? And then about the agriculture insurance, right? And so that is one of the things that is quite interesting. But again, I think the challenge of a small farmers and all that is to sustainable. You know, that's where I think it's not like some projects which is in the short-term period, but in agriculture is always a very long period before you can really harvest. It depends on the kind of, you know, what kind of fruits or whatever vegetables or things that you're actually harvesting.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of we've gone through a lot of the challenges that our farmers have to go through. I think we're aware of what their challenges are, and we know theoretically how to solve them. It's always a matter of whether there is the will to do something about it, as opposed to just letting them figure it out themselves. I think this is something that we have to work as a team to do. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult issue, but we should be able to do this soon.
Yeah.
So, Doctor, I know that our topic for today will be tech-savvy future farmers, redefining farming. Perhaps while our other panelists are trying to come in, you can start the session. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah. I think I would like to suggest that way, Reza. I think let's start while waiting to get that technical issues sorted out.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll sit in as a third wheel here. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we are
Please,
a little
Doctor.
bit late, about 30 minutes, of time. But anyway, we still like maintain that 1 hour sessions that we have. But I think, fortunately, we have one of our panelists here, Chris. So he will have a lot more time for him to talk a little bit more about himself. But let me introduce, again, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Mazlan Abbas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Favorite. We're also an IoT company, focusing very much on IoT. So the session for this afternoon, actually, the term is tech-savvy futures, redefining farming. So it's very interesting topic. In fact, we have 4 panelists, which, I hope they will be up here soon, because what we'll be talking about is very interesting, because we are seeing now is that we know that the conventional farming is not sexy enough. That's what Navin mentioned earlier in his last panel session. And that's why we are seeing a lot of youngsters prefer to work in the cities, right? Rather than at the kampong, the hometown and all that. So, but with the new era of IR 4.0, we are seeing a lot more new emerging technologies that can make agriculture much more sexy in a way. You can see that, people love to work on technologies like robotics, drones, Now you can, at paddy, you can use your drones to either fertilize or even, pesticide and all that. So the youngsters love to be in this kind of era and using technologies in the farming. No more physical sort of things. So in fact, when we talk about the 4 panelists that we want to, having this in this session, we'll be seeing like people in the ministry, from Ezri. He will introduce to you and how we like to hear more about himself, about talking about how he encouraged the youngsters to get involved in agriculture. That's one of the things that we see. How technology and modernization will excite them to return working in the kampong areas or the rural areas, as we are seeing. We are very fortunate to have Chris 354 that actually can offer the co-farm business model. So it's very interesting. I feel like to hear from him later more about this. I would like to hear more about what you mentioned about SDG 2, the zero hunger, food security, and SDG 8 that you're working on, giving more work, getting jobs and all that. And then we have one of the panelists from Fresh Harvest Peppers. Like to hear more about how this person ventured into agriculture, even though she's actually facing a lot of challenges. You see floods, natural disasters, bad weather, wild animals, but still she persists and work on this farming area. And finally, we'll see that Figro. We'll hear more from Firdaus. I think you have seen the video. He's just now in the video. Just now, he's on the video. And a company that used this smart farming solution from REDtone. Maybe I'd like to hear more about how his experience in transforming the way that they manage the farm. Yeah.
Yep.
That's very good. So these are the 4 panelists that we wish to all of you to listen here. If you have a lot more questions, you can put that into the question and answers there, and then we'll try to, ask these questions to the panel. Yeah. So it's always there for you to. So in fact, we like to limit the presentation to 5 minutes. But if, after there is no panel, we can chit chat with Chris. No problem, Chris. So
no problem.
I'll get Chris to introduce himself and what he's doing, especially in this new business model that he's doing now.
Sure.
Hi, Chris.
Okay, yeah, it's great that I actually have a superpower. I can talk the ears off a brass horse. So if the other 2 panelists doesn't come on in time, then no, I think we definitely can have a very interesting conversation.
We can talk till the cows come home.
Yes, that is actually one of my superpowers. Okay. Perhaps let me introduce myself a little. My name is Chris Fong. I'm the co-founder of FIFIFO. I have another co-founder, Calvin, so unfortunately won't be joining us today. And we are a first of its kind, ag-tech company. We are the world's first co-farming company that does, in the business of creating and providing, co-farming spaces for agripreneurs to really start their commercial farms easily. So perhaps let me just quickly dive into, a quick deck that gives us a little bit of overview. Now, I'm not sure if many are aware, 80% of the food that's produced in Asia is actually, 80% of the food that Asia consumes is actually produced by smallholder farmers. 65% of them will retire in the next 15 years. Traditional farming is not profitable enough to attract the next generation, and agri-field graduates have some of the lowest employability. I think some of the speakers earlier before me had really touched on these points. But topping it off, our insight is that there's no breakthroughs in agri-tech today that can actually replace the entire smallholder farming demographic entirely. So bringing up smallholder efficacy and profitability through modernization is key to feeding 8.5 billion people by 2030. However, the smallholders, they all face a common set of problems, not just in Malaysia, everywhere else in Southeast Asia, other parts of the developing world, and that is, basically high capex and limited knowledge to modern farming, lack of scale, and being squeezed by middlemen. Now, for them, multiple solutions solving parts of their problem is not going to be good enough. They need a true value chain solution. So what FIFIFO is doing is we're pioneering digitalized, standardized farming in ready-to-farm modern farm spaces called co-farms. So now smallholder farmers can easily start their own modern farming businesses in our farm spaces, becoming what we call agropreneurs. So think central kitchens for smallholder farmers with support for first cycle working capital and guaranteed offtake. So we are backed by regional VCs from Singapore, Malaysia, and Korea, soon to also have investors from Indonesia in the trenches with us. So we take down long-term agri-land leases to build multiple enclaves of co-farms around major cities in Southeast Asia. We recruit existing farmers and agricultural graduates to lease farm spaces of 1 to 2 acres for 3 years, where they grow cash crops pre-curated by FIFIFO, food cash crops pre-curated by FIFIFO. Then as a network, we help them standardize their operations and go to market for strength in numbers. And we do that in 2 ways. 1, standardizing their physical environment. 2, standardizing their digital work processes, how they manage finances, inventory, their entire crop cycle, how they record their harvest, etc., etc. So our co-farms are equipped with standardized commercial crop systems. So think greenhouses, fertigation systems, hydroponic systems, all these commercial systems are widely used by commercial farms. That's the reason why commercial farms can produce to the kind of high level of quantity, high level of quality. Yeah, and we also have all the shared facilities that they need. things like nurseries, packing centers, even accommodation for agripreneurs and workers. Now, we provide help with their first cycle working capital to get them kick-started. Then they simply grow with standardized workflows and protocols on our proprietary digital platform. And finally, they sell their harvest to guaranteed off-takers pre-established by P50. And all they need to start is 3 months of rental security deposit and a great attitude. So P50's DDFM platform, our digital platform, helps our co-farm operators like us digitally standardize crop growing models and protocols for our agripreneurs to grow against. And it helps us as operators to manage this decentralized network of smallholder farms by automating and consolidating their needs around financials, inventory, sales, and logistics. With our DDFM mobile app, where every agripreneur in our co-farm has to use to manage their entire crop cycle, our agripreneurs' entire seed to sale process is turned into simple to use digital workflows. DDFN ensures our agripreneurs set aside enough funds from their harvest sales to start a new cycle and buy the right inputs in the right amounts. It helps them manage their operations and grow consistently with digital crop cycle management and operating procedures. And it helps them record and prevent fraud during harvest and also account for sales and logistics, sales and rejects, so they know how profitable they are from cycle to cycle. So agripreneurs pay us a monthly rental, what we call a farm space as a service fee, based on the type of farm space agripreneurs lease, between maybe 2,005 ringgit to 6,000 ringgit, depending on whether it's highland or lowland. And they profit share with us after each harvest to join our space. Separately, we also license out our model and technology so that other people can run co-farms that are powered by P50. Agripreneurs pay themselves, agripreneurs in our farm spaces, they are all able to pay themselves a minimum salary on top of their harvest profit sharing, and they can expect to take away 13,000 to 18,000 USD per minimum crop plot in annual income. That's about 50 to 70,000 ringgit a year. So those who know will know that that's up to 2 times a fresh graduate pay and more than 10 times that of a traditional farmer. Through rental or profit sharing, landlords can get 1,008 to 2,008 ringgit. 2,008 to 2,008 USD per acre annual income, and that's about 7,000 to 11,000 ringgit on an annual basis, and that's comparable to them operating a palm plantation themselves without doing all the active work. So Southeast Asia has 330 million rural population, 304 million acres of agricultural land, and $159 billion contract farming market opportunity for P50 to be the world's first decentralized outsourced contract farming network. So we directly leave livelihoods, grow enterprises in agriculture, and provide employment, training, and knowledge to the local community. And we do that by modernizing that demographic that grows 80% of Asia's food, democratizing costly commercial farm infrastructure, and promoting financial inclusivity, moving the needle where it is, the most important. So, follow us on LinkedIn or come to p50.co to learn more about us. We are, basically aspiring to be the beanstalk in our logo to lift up that bottom 40 of the income pyramid. So that's it.
Oh, great. It's great to see that kind of vision that you have and see that kind of opportunity that already, in front of us. We have seen some of these kind of models have been in place in other places too, right? But when we take a look at, the farmers who wants to rent that, do you see any trends of what kind of crops that they are very much interested in, and why the reason that they're looking at that kind of crops?
I think that's a great question. Thanks, Doctor. And it's also interesting that you say that you have seen people trying to do something similar elsewhere. We ourselves have had people, talk about, oh, somebody else here does this, somebody else does exactly what you do. And to be honest, when we look deeper into the details, just below the surface, we realize that you are very different. What co-farming effectively is focusing on is in standardizing operations for smallholder farmers through physical space, through digital workflows. Many other people may try to help financially, may try to provide inputs, might try to provide training, or even to provide a buyer. But the key focus is not in standardizing operations. For us, our insight is that when we standardize, when we successfully standardize operations for these smallholder farmers, we reduce the risk throughout the entire value chain. We can go out, we can work with suppliers to get them economies of scale in terms of inputs they have to buy. We can go to buyers and say, this is the quality always, because we all follow the same thing, same steps to grow, and we are able to negotiate a good contract buying price. So that's really the key. Now, when you ask me, what kind of crops do agropreneurs grow, or farmers want to grow? Actually, it's the other way around. They are asking, what crops do people want to buy? And many actually don't know the answer. They just follow what their neighbors do. Right? They hear of somebody who, oh, today chili price is 20 ringgit per kg. Let's grow chili. But by the time the harvest is done, Raya is over, maybe prices are coming down. So that's one of the problems that many smallholders face. They actually just follow the trend. Many of them may jump onto the bandwagon late, and by the time their harvest is up, the prices could have changed. So what 354 does is really, as a co-farm agent, as their agent, we are in a better position to negotiate with buyers that have a consistent need for contract farming produce. I will always want chili, this amount, this frequently, I can give you this price, so that we can give farmers a consistent reliability to their sales when they harvest.
Interesting. The model that you have just now, I saw in the chat, someone is very interested in you and asked you to contact him. Okay,
there's already an offer.
We get that. We get that a lot. We get that a lot because
But when you look at, you just now mentioned about the value chain, and 354 mentioned about this seed to sale value chain. But we also take a look at the concept of what we call the farm to fork.
Yes.
So where do you put your place where you say, I think it's not like farm to fork, but you're still within that middle ecosystem, right? The value chain. Is that what you are working on?
That's a fantastic question, Doctor. I think when people say farm to fork or seed to sale, it becomes very clear and apparent what lenses they're putting on. Farm to fork is when someone looks at the entire food value chain, where farming is just one part, the top part. X farm is where everything else happens, and finally it gets to our tables. So when someone says food farm to fork, your focus is in the entire food supply chain, and how do you solve problems and inconsistencies in that level. When we say seed to sale, the lens is looking through these smallholder farmers. And that's why we are able to address their problems as a value chain. When we look at their problems from the smallholders' perspective, suddenly the equation changes. Suddenly it becomes very clear what are the problems smallholder farmers face and what we have to do to increase their success rate to the highest.
Okay, good. And there, for the interested parties, I think you just take a look at the Q&A. There is someone there interested, asking you to contact them personally. But there's one question, Chris, from Simon. Simon, he says that, hi, Chris, your concept only works for short-term crops, right? How about the long-term fruits, trees such as durian, which need more than 5 years' time?
Correct. That's a very astute, very sharp observation. Yes, co-farming model as is most suitable for short cycle cash crops. And it's not just our model, it's basically suitability for smallholder farmers. No smallholder farmers will be able to live without pay, without income for 8 years, waiting for your first durian to be ripe enough to be able to sell for a great price. So from that perspective, certain crops like durian, very, very long crop cycles are produced, they are more suitable to be grown by bigger companies, by perhaps a well-to-do businessman, etc., that's investing in it. From the angle of smaller farmers, what they need is fast turnaround, and we have done numerous modelings of different types of crops, and the sweet spot is for any smallholders are best for growing crops that are less than 6 months in cycle. And that is when the operational the OPEX of that first cycle is still within range for smallholder farmers to absorb, which is usually around 90,000 to 120,000 ringgit, which 354 as part of our business actually support them financially for it.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, you got that airtime for quite some time, Chris. So we have 2 more panels that just come on board here.
Okay, great.
Thank you for all the answers that you have given it just now. It's very interesting to see that. So we have here 2 more speakers. As I mentioned just now, we have Azri, Muhammad Azri Shamsuddin. He's the Director of Young Agropreneur from MAFI, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries. And we also have Puan Shahira Shahabuddin. She's the Director of Fresh Harvest Peppers Indian Berhad. Azri, are you able to make that presentation with your mobile phone or?
No, I can't, but I have given my slide.
Yeah, we will be playing your slides for Esri soon. Yeah, we'll be putting that on. Terribly sorry for the inconvenience and the technical issues. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to inform all of you because I have another engagement soon, and it's been dragging the time. So
yeah, so I give you this.
Just a short while.
No problem.
Right.
So if the presentation slide for Esri is available, can we have that on the screen? Okay, up to you, Esri.
Okay, that's quite small. but I try my best. Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor, and everybody here. I think we have around 139 currently with us. So I will talk about the national agro-food policies in terms of youth and modernization. What's the government, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, has planned for all of us in 5 years' time. So my name is Muhammad Azri Shamsuddin. Let me introduce myself first. I'm from Young Agripreneur Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I have 5 minutes, right, Doctor?
Yes, 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So the Ministry of Agriculture, in terms of the function itself, we are most importantly in terms of policies and strategies. That's the main function of the ministry, and to implement all the policies and strategies, we have our departments and agencies. There are currently 13 agencies and departments under the Ministry of Agriculture across the whole subsector, crops and until livestock, fisheries and food industries. We also, in terms of our function, we also doing all the agriculture developments programs here in Malaysia. We have also R&D and innovation, not only in MARDI, that is our main research arm, but we also given grant to universities, public universities and private universities. And in terms of innovation, we also have our own agencies such as bioeconomy. We have MARDI Tech and everything. In terms of domestic and foreign investment, we have our 8 offices around the world, especially in the main agriculture producing countries, and also in terms of agro-food value chain, because we are dealing with everything from production, marketing, investment, businesses and everything. So that's the whole function of the ministry. On the second slide, this is the development of the policies in Malaysia. Since 1984, now we already have 5. Our main big agenda since 1984. first one start with the National Agriculture Policy number 1, 1984 to 1991, and then we have National Agricultural Policy NAP2 to increase. The main reason for us to have that policy is to increase the production, competitiveness, and sustainability of our agriculture industry in Malaysia. And we also, at that time, we want to increase the land area for industrial, crop, palm oil, and agro-food. In 1998, we have our third National Agriculture Food Policy to increase the competitiveness and maximizing the income of our farmers. 2011, 2020, that's when we have a separate policy between agro-commodity and also agro-food between Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Prime Industry or Ministry of Commodity. We just launched our new policy in 2021, last year. This will be our 10-year plan for the industry to increase the economic contribution in terms of agro-food. Currently, we are less than like 7 to 9% of our GDP is contributed by the agro-food industry. To improve, we also want to improve the social well-being and also in terms of environmental sustainability. Second, you can see that, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, this is our policy statement in terms of the emphasis on youth. In NAP1, we want the youth orientation, in NAP3, we have the emphasis on youth in terms of the orientation to technology, development, IT, and also new technology. NAP 1.0, that's when we have our young agripreneur program to increase the participation of youth and also to develop human capital and technical and vocational education. We give grant, loan, and technical assistance. In NAP 2.0 that we launched last year, we want to build talent that meets demand of the industry to attract and retain young talent, because we don't want to lose our talent that we have trained in UPM, in other universities, that those students who are studying in agriculture, in fisheries, and also in livestock. And we want to focus more on modern and smart farming and to expose younger generation to agriculture activities. Next. Now, what we have, this is the issues and challenges that we have currently. Poor perception of the agro-food industry. The commercial bank doesn't want to give loan because of the risk, and the youth doesn't want to be in our industry because they think that this is a 3D industry, dirty, dangerous, and difficult. And also there are barriers of entry for young entrepreneur. They cannot make loans in terms of financial support, land, and everything. And also we have the dependency on foreign labor. As you can see right now in Malaysia, we have a lot of Bangladeshi working here in our farm, and they being very good at it, surprisingly. And if they can do it, why not us, actually? But of course, because of the poor perception, and that's why we are getting more and more foreign labor coming in to Malaysia to work in our farm. And also because of the low and volatile income, sometimes you get 2,000 per month, sometimes you get 3,000. There's a lot of things that make this industry a challenge for us in the ministry to attract the young agripreneur to be in our industry. Next. So that's why we want to rebrand our agriculture sector with the incorporation of modern and smart agriculture as what I think what we have been through over this seminar today is to modernizing and to use smart agriculture. We want to produce greater supply of industry-ready workforce and also to increase the exposure of younger generation to agriculture activities. And also we want to develop transition program for non-agriculture graduates. Most of the graduates they will go to another sector such as the service, manufacturing, but not in the agriculture sector. Why? Because of the poor perception of the agriculture, volatile income. That's what we need to tackle, and that's why we want to incorporate modern and smart agriculture in Malaysia. So if you have any question regarding young agripreneur and also modernization, just feel free to ask me about it. And you can reach us here in Young Agripreneur Unit in Putrajaya, and also through our social media, Agro Youth Mafi. Doctor, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ezri. Before you go off, I think let me take a look at the questions and see whether are there more questions for you first before we can let you go. Okay, I think earlier in the opening I mentioned about the agriculture, the conventional way of doing things are very unsexy lah. A lot of people, the young people would love to work in the cities, in the service industry, very modern and all that. So they don't want to work in kampung. And you mentioned now you are trying to groom these youngsters to become the agropreneur and working in this area. And we have seen a lot of new technologies coming in, very exciting. Yeah, but still there are still big challenges that you are facing, like the ministry. In the last few slides that you mentioned, but we'd like to know what exactly the real initiative that been doing for the past maybe 1 year that, and coming soon next year, what exactly that you want to do for this, to get these young people come on board.
Okay, Doctor, since 2016, we have Young Agripreneur program that aim to attract young farmers to be in our industry. So we have three main components within that program. Number one, we gave out loan. Up until 500,000 through Agrobank and Teco National, with only 2%. 2%. What do you call that? Faedah. 2%. Interest for 7 years. And last year, when we launched we rebrand the scheme to Agro Youth Entrepreneur Scheme. Within less than 2 months, we have 104 young agripreneurs coming in to get the loan from us. So 21 million has been spent last year for the loan to young agripreneurs. And number two, our main component number two is in terms of grant. We given out grant to young agripreneurs. Right now we have 7,669 young agripreneurs who has received grant from the government, from the ministry, with a total cost of 132 million. Since 2016, and last year we given out 796 grant to young agripreneur, costing the government around 15.7 million. And this is one of the initiatives that we have in our ministry. The grant is given out to all young agripreneurs in every subsector in agriculture industry, crops, fishery, livestock, and those who make what do you call that, snack or keropok and everything. We gave out the grant to all of them, 20,000 maximum. And the third component is we also give technical courses for those who don't have any basic or for those who has been in the industry for less than 1 year. We give them technical training. We also give them business training, how to do marketing, online business, and this is all free from the government. And as per your question, Doctor, what's our plan this year? So this year we add up another subsector that is agro-technology, that we given out grant to those who want to implement modern technology such as IoT, precision farming, in their farm. So that's what we are doing currently, and we open this grant to all young agripreneurs out there aged between 18 to 40. Doctor.
There's another one last question for you. Maybe depending if you are still here, we can still ask more questions. But if you take a look at the digital transformation in the agriculture sector, you will see that there's a lot of people that coming in using new technologies. They love to embrace new technologies and modernization of the agriculture area. But there are still people who wants to be left behind. Very slow in terms of, that kind of gap is becoming bigger and bigger while other people are moving in. So if we look at the IR 4.0, one extreme, you're using very conventional physical way, manual. Another extreme, you're using technology like IoT, drone, robotics. In your survey or study that you have seen the whole Malaysia, where exactly the agriculture sector now? In which industrial revolution you can say? Is it still at 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Oh, I cannot generalize that because I don't have the expertise to put into what kind of scale that we have right now, but I think that since 2019, the young agripreneur, I can talk in terms of the young agripreneurs, Doctor. Since 2019, a lot of young agripreneurs here in Malaysia is using IoT, especially in terms of when they do hydroponic or fertigation. And some are using drones in paddy field. So I mean, the revolution has arrived here in Malaysia, but for those smallholders, they have limitation or barriers in terms of the capital that need to be brought in to their business. So for those who are doing conventional farming right now, they will think a lot of things. For example, like yes, if you do IoT using a smartphone for their farm, for example, like I have my friend Nur Hashim Kamisan in Selangor. He is one of the young agripreneur who has been using IoT for his farm, and he said that from six workers that he had before, now he can just use 2. But the first capital that need to be brought in is quite a lot, because at that time he was working with MDEC, and he had to spend about 30,000 just for using pesticide, using handphone. And now the cost is much cheaper. It costs only around 15 to 18,000 for what he had done 3 years back. So meaning that when everybody, when the technology is becoming more mature, the price or the cost for the technology will be cheaper. So I guess that maybe in 5 years time, 3 years to 5 years time, you can expect the technology will be coming in. A lot of farmers will be using IoT because of the price will be cheaper, and you can get this gadget from Alibaba, from China. Currently, there are a lot of companies that are importing those gadgets from China, and it's becoming less and less expensive.
Yeah, thank you very much for that answers. Even though you didn't mention exactly which industrial revolution are we in now in the agriculture sector. Yeah, in fact, now we are adopting that a lot. I think we have also one of our panel who just the last one, the number 4 is actually Firdaus. I think we will listen to more about him later in his presentation of how he used IoT in his farm. But now let's go to Nur Shahira. I think we have about another just 5 minutes presentation introduction about what you're doing and the challenges that you're facing, and then I'll pass that to Firdaus later. Nur Shahira.
Okay, Prof. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Miss Fee, can you play the slides for me? Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Shaira Shahrudin. So I'm currently running an agriculture company known as Fresh Harvest Peppers. So basically, I'm planting chilies and also focusing on developing young agropreneurs. So basically, my company focus is to promote what so-called awareness, and we invite people from outside this industry to join this industry. Let's say somebody from construction line, from oil and gas line. So we collaborate with them, and we joint venture with them to do smart farming in Chile. So okay, Miss Fee, you can click. Okay. So today, I just want to speak on part of the challenges that we have faced throughout our journey as agripreneur. So among the challenges that we face is, of course, and definitely costs and money issues. So before we go to the challenges, let me just tell you that we actually we are currently entering our 3rd year in the industry. So we started from small scale farm comprising of 500 polybag, and currently we have more than 10 acres site throughout Malaysia. We have site in Batu Pahat, we have site in Negeri Sembilan. So we actually we would like to promote this smart farming and fertigation system to young people out there. So Ms. Fee, you can proceed to the next slide. Okay, so among the challenges, no, before that. Previous, okay. Among the challenges that we face is, of course, cost and money issue. I think it's common. So we actually presented our paperwork to many companies who were interested to diversify and delve into different area of industry. So we approached them and proposed if they would like to be part of the venture, as we didn't get any fund from any financial institutions or government during our first year. It's been such a tough year for us, but we decided to make our first move to seek for private fund. So we managed to get them in time throughout our resources. And the next thing was the hassle to find laborers and crews who would like to be part of our team. Here at this stage, I found REDtone, and I found Mr. Shukri. So he introduced me with IoT. So we decided to implement IoT into our conventional system. We would like to implement IoT to increase production and reduce labor costs. So the selection took weeks and months just to find the right candidates who can fit the position, who can deliver the task accordingly. So with IoT, I think it reduced our costs to find laborers. So despite these 2 challenges, the next challenges is knowledge. So the different in educational background and gap required us to spend more time than others who are already in this line. So just to explore, just to expose and equip ourselves with sufficient knowledge and skills. Because myself, I am from law background. I'm a practicing lawyer. So I took time to learn more about Chile, to learn more about what is fertigation, to learn more about pesticide control, fertilizer, until we think we are good to go. So we decided to explore this new area. So we kind of took time to equip ourselves with knowledge, and I think one of the challenges is knowledge barriers, because it required us to sacrifice more money as well as more time to learn so many things within stipulated time. So, but then I realized we need a proper system. Okay, the next challenges is system. Okay, we realize we need a proper system to manage the team, the crew, and the whole organization, which consists of different type of people, and they have different experience. So we learn to manage because different industry need different approach on its practicality. Because in legal industry, we use different approach. But in agriculture industry, we use different approach. So the working time, the scheduling, and so on, it's totally different. So we did explore the thing, and for us, system is very essential. So SOP is the one which can help to regulate and make workers more disciplined. So that is one of the challenges that we faced before this. And the next thing is market. Ms. Fee, we are still on the second slide. We are still on the second slide. The next thing is the market, because not everyone is able to market what they have or produce. So this is another segment and challenge that we had to overcome and master in order to make sure we can optimize our labor and minimize our costs and maximize our profit. Because sometimes most of the farmers, they know how to plant, but they don't know how to market. Some of them they just know how to plant, but at certain time when they got so many productions, when the production what we call berlambak-lambak, so they don't know where to channel their crops. So that is one of the reason why we built our marketing team inside this company. So joining the marketing floor is one of the best experience I've ever had, and I was able to set my own price. I was able to know the current price, determine your own packaging. So you need to be creative and not rigid, so that with that concept it won't be stagnant. Okay, apart from logistic issue, that is one of the thing that you have to take into account when you do when you venture into agriculture. So lastly, it's about natural disaster. We have had recently, from December last year up until today, it causes loss and damage. You can proceed to the next slide. So before flood, our site was okay. You can click on the slide. Okay, this is our site in Ladang in Bayu Emas. Our main site is located in Bayu Emas, which consists of approximately 10 acres. You can click because it will the photo will appear. Okay, approximately 10 acres of land. So we plant chili kulai, chili bara, and chili siam here. And then when the flood came, you can click next. Okay, when the flood came, so this is what happened in early November. This is what happened. Jadi pulau teh ais. So we kind of suffered loss. So here I just want to emphasize on the point that knowledge is very important. Knowledge on how you find the land, how you knowledge to look at the environment, whether the place is suitable or not for your project. You have to identify whether your place is suitable or not, whether the water sources, whether there is high tide or low tide, things and factors that you have to take into account when you want to start a project. So the next slide. These are the aftermath photos we managed to take. Okay, go on. Okay, see. Okay. And throughout our recovery phase, we do waste management, and we replant our baby plant, our chili, start from the scratch back once again. We learn from our mistake. That's how we grow lah. That's how we learn. Next slide. So we bounce back, revive. Apparently, the learning session cost us money. That's why I want to share with you guys, so that you won't do the same thing. You won't repeat the mistakes. So yeah, this is the recovery phase. So other challenges is strong wind and wild animal disruptions also contribute to the damage. So these are the factors that you have to take into account, whether, you know, there is a monkeys, whether there is a strong wind at your site. So next. Those are the effects that you will face if you don't properly consider these things. Apparently, 80 kilogram of crop yields are harvested daily and sold directly to the retailers all across Peninsular Malaysia from 1 acre production. So I think it's quite okay. We help our young people who venture into this industry to market their own chilies. Okay, so our aim is to ask people to join us. Despite so many challenges, there are many people from various backgrounds and walks of life who would still want to venture into this agriculture industry. So next. Our client is road construction contractor. He diverted from construction line to agriculture line. So he took this challenge to venture into new thing, new area. He planted 1,800 chili plants. Okay. Okay, the next thing is, the next person is executive officer. What I'm trying to say is, it's not necessary for people with agriculture background can venture into this area. Can always be just anybody. As long as we have the courage, we have the passion, we have the means. Our florist, he planted 600 chili plants behind his house in Batu Pahat. So actually everyone can do the same. Ex-banker. So we have ex-banker join us in Pekan Pahang. This is part of my team. We promote young people, local young people. We don't take foreigner as our workers. We only take local young workers. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Shira. I think the idea, I think we have seen a lot of challenges that we are facing previously, and we'll like to hear later, maybe during the question and answers, if you have time for to ask you. But I would like to pass this first to Firdaus, yeah,
Okay.
before we can have that question and answers later.
All right, sure.
Okay,
Thank you,
very
Doctor.
much. So can Firdaus, from Grow?
Yeah, hello.
Can you limit yourself to 5 minutes presentation?
I think so.
Sure.
Okay, Assalamualaikum to our moderator, Ms. Dr. Mazan, panelists, and our audience. So today, very thank you to be able to join this forum, Emerging Tech and Innovation from REDtone. Okay, a little bit of myself. My name is Muhammad Firdaus bin Muhammad Ghazali. Next slide, please. Okay, our company, Figro Govers Sdn Bhd, have been founded in 2013. So up until now, we have 9 years experience in agriculture. So we already now have 9 acres of fertigation, full fertigation system. So in Hulu Langat, we have around 4 farms. We subdivide into each farm into each category of produce. So mainly our specialized is in cucumber, chili, rock melon, and eggplant lah. We supply to hypermarket and also some small scale shop. Okay, next. Next please. Okay. Before I start on the advantage and of the smart farming, I would like to recap on the previous before we are using smart farming. This is, as you can see in the picture, we are using the what we call is semi-automatic system last time in fertigation. So the two tank in the picture is we do like the mixing of the fertilizer. So usually the worker need to mix the fertilizer into the big tank. We call it the holding tank manually. So every day the worker we need to do around 2 to 4 times manually. This will lead to our worker will waste of time because one session will take around 15 to 20 minutes to mix the fertilizer accurately. Sometimes also our worker, when they are very busy, they will mix the fertilizer inaccurately because you know when we busy, we need to do A thing and then we need to do the B thing, and then sometimes the worker forgot to mix accurately for the fertilizer. Next, please. Next, please. Okay. As you can see from the picture, this is our what so-called is schedule for our semi-automatic schedule for watering system. We usually set this system manually. Our manager need to come to the farm and then need to set up the timer for watering every day, depending on the weather also. If it's raining today, then our manager need to come to the farm and then need to change the schedule again. So indirectly, this process will lead to several delay. And then if the manager delay come to the farm, and then our plant will not get enough nutrient. So this is not suitable for our weather because we need some autonomous system that can react to these changes. Okay, next. Okay, as you can see in the next slide, this is what I just said just now is our holding tank. We usually fill this tank manually so our worker every day need to go see whether this tank is already full, and then need to wait for half an hour because if they didn't wait over there, and then there will be some spilling and then wastage of water. So this also is time consuming for our worker. We need to use sometime around 2 to 3 people because we in one farm we have around 12 tanks. So several workers need to monitor 2 or 3 tanks. Also, if they didn't monitor this tank, sometimes our water pump will also be broken because we set the schedule just now using the semi-automatic, and then the pump will run, and then there's no water in the holding tank. So this is not good because if the pump broken, then we'll increase our expenses to repair the problem. Next. Okay. As you can see, this is the fertigation system. We usually don't have any sensor. We just have the normal pipe that silo the baja into the sabut. So usually what we do for the EC and pH, we normally ask our worker to check every polybag, 1,000 polybag, we check around 10 bag for the EC and pH content. Also for the volume water content in the polybag, we also need to check manually. We just lift the bag and then we agak-agak we call. So this is not very good for producing an optimum fertilizer in the sabut. So our workers sometimes when this A worker go check, they say to the boss, this bag is okay. But and then the next worker come, boss, this bag is not okay. So different answer and different information. This will lead to wrong fertilizer quantity being given to the plant. Okay, next. Okay. So after we been offered by REDtone and MDEC, we are now using for the smart farming for quite some time, almost for 2 years. So as you can see, the picture here is the EC meter. So it digitally calculate the EC meter using the computer. So all the mixing that been done manually just now is being done directly using this computer. So we, as a manager for the farm, we can input the EC and the schedule, and then we can change the EC meter, EC reading in real time using our computer or using an apps. This also.
Sorry, Ezri, can you summarize it a little bit because we are short of time? Okay.
Okay, so this will lead to human error and then our worker downtime lah. So next. Also, this, as you can see, also an automation system for the refill of holding tank. So we also put several sensors over there, reduce some wastage also, and then we can also monitor and change everything inside using mobile phone. Next. Okay, this is the REDtone Smart Farming apps. As you can see, they will display everything from EC meter, volume, water content, and then the temperature, the humidity. So with this data, we can tweak the plant, and then we can adjust everything to the need of the plant. So indirectly, we'll get the highest yield for the plant. Next. So after been using for 2 years, previously for the cucumber, we get around 30 ton per season. Now we can produce around 60 to 70 ton per season. Also for chili, last time we get 3 kilos. Now we almost reach around 6 kilo per plant. Next. Also, you can see we also over there, we have produced rock melon. Last time we get an average of 1.5 kilo. Now we get around 2.5 to 3 kilos. Next. In my summary, I think the adaptation towards smart farming need to be increased among our farmer, because if you see in Hulu Langat also, I think we can count how many people that are using this smart farming. Also, when these farmers are being given smart farming system, they need to be trained and exposed more regarding the benefit of this smart farming. As just now, the cost, we know that it's very high for new technology. So I hope that we can get more subsidies from government and more grant from private sector to support us farmer to be able to grow in the future. So if all the farmer adapt this smart farming, so indirectly we will increase our food security in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Firdaus. Sorry, because of the technical difficulties and all that, we a little bit extend the time, but I'd like to get the REDtone's permission to have a wrap up a little bit, at least 1 or 2 minutes answer from the last of the panels. Okay,
Sure.
Okay, just wrap up panels, 1 or 2 minutes. 1 minute is okay. Maybe I will start with Firdaus first. Your presentation just now, you talk about IoT. But do you use any other technologies than IoT? Because in IR 4.0, there are many other things. Do we have plans for that?
Currently, we are testing the automation system for spraying pesticide. So now we are still processing how the usage of the automated system.
Okay. Are you using AI later?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's something that you can move on later in the next phase, right? Okay. Correct. Thank you, Firdaus. I'd like to ask for Nur Shahira. You are a lawyer. You turn into a farmer. Something which is very different from your legacy previous work, which you are still doing now. But how do you get that best practices to help the farmers that you are actually helping them? The new generation of farmers. What is
Pardon,
the best
Doctor?
the
Pardon?
best practice of becoming a farmer? Because you yourself is not a farmer, but how do you help them in terms of making that kind of best practice?
How do I convince them? So actually, when we first started doing this, I gathered all my friends who work from different field. I mean, I gathered my friend who work in chemical line, who work in finance line. So I took them, and we form a group, form a team. So we set up another team of marketing. We set up another team of technical, just to broaden and widen our networking. So we open a small farm, small site in every state. So we collaborate with KPLB, Kementerian Pembangunan Luar Bandar, just to promote this so-called project to those who live in rural area. And we often encourage them, if we can do, why can't you? Because we come from different background, different area and industry. One of us is from science and chemical industry, and meanwhile I'm a lawyer, and my partner is a banker. So we collaborate and we convince them that we can do if we unite. We can do if we have the knowledge. So irrespective of whoever you are, as long as you are willing to learn from the scratch, and as long as you are willing to sacrifice your time to learn, then nothing is impossible. So when we guide them from A to Z. We guide them, we help them and monitor them from zero. So when they get their first crops and yields, so they felt very happy and they wish to continue to expand their site. So we don't really focus on their money. We want them to learn.
I think that the idea is, having that different multidiscipline, the technology of the future, you have that multidiscipline, it will help a lot of the new farmers. So thank you, Shaira, for that kind of comment. Lastly, to Chris, the question is, I think you have been doing this new business model, the co-farming things, and quite new to many people also. But what's your aspiration to see how you can help the people in Malaysia? What's your aspiration now?
Our aspiration goes way beyond Malaysia. We want co-farming to be essentially the new world model for any smallholder farmer to start their own commercial farming business. So imagine in Malaysia, if you're in the rural space and you want to make a good living out of agriculture, there is a co-farm near you that you can walk up to, inquire if there is a space that's available, and then just start.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think just to wrap up everything to all of you, I would like to thanks to all of you because of your patience, because of all these technical issues. But what we are seeing today is the tech-savvy thing, the future farmers, the people who are actually doing IoT, the people who are actually not in the area of technology but involved in technology, amazing thing. And you have seen Chris also doing a new business model of co-farming. We're also seeing Mafi is trying to push the youth, the youngsters, to be more interested into agriculture, more sexy thing with new technologies. So with that, I would like to thanks to all the panels, Chris, Ezri, Shaira, and Firdaus for the excellent presentation and discussion. Thank you very much. So I pass back to you, Reza. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, panelists. I do apologize for the technical difficulties to every single one of you. I know that the time is a bit brief, but hopefully this will not be the only event. We will be having more and more of these events in the future, and we will be definitely calling you back for another session. Thank you so much, everyone. We will be going on to the next panel. And Doctor, once again, thank you. Chris, Firdaus, Puan Shaira, and Encik Ezri, thank you so much. Thank you.